Hey y'all, and what's up? Welcome back to another segment here on the Gems podcast. For those of you who are new to the show, I am Miss Genesis Amaris Kemp. For those who are seasoned listeners, so welcome back to a segment where we drop gems and have fun. So with me today is Andy Dietrich, and he's actually going to pronounce his name better than I because I'm having a hard time saying it, but I'm gonna let me read his bio and tell you a little bit more about who he is. And then we're going to dive into a fun-filled segment on what he's all about. So be prepared to take notes, laugh, giggle, de-stress, all that and more. So Andy Dietrich is the author of Play Stupid Games with Stupid Prizes, where he chronicles short stories of his personal mishaps, life lessons, and questionable decision making, all with
Hmm.
wit, heartfelt insights, and a healthy scoop of sarcasm. Love it because sometimes I am a bit sarcastic myself. Some people will say, "Oh, why you got to be a witch about it?" And I'm like, "You didn't get the joke." But anywho, let's welcome Andy, and I want him to tell you how to pronounce his name accurately. Let's see if you could say it better than I can.
Genesis, thank you. Real quick, I'm gonna borrow that. Someone didn't get the joke. I'm gonna put that in my little list of things. That's great. My name is Andy Dietrich. The proper German pronunciation of my full name is Andreas Dietrich. However, for the English speakers of your audience, Andy Dietrich will work just fine.
Awesome. Can you teach us how to say good morning in German?
And this one is easy. Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
There you go. Yep, just like
Oh.
that. Yep. So you can really say Guten and then followed by Morgen. Tag means day. Abend means evening. Guten Tag is universally acceptable for any time of the day.
I love it. I always learning a new language because you never know when you may be in that part of the world. And I tell people like even though I'm first generation American, you still need to
Hmm.
tap into worldwide because there are some Americans who have never left America and when they do, they feel so freaking entitled that people are like, get out of my country. And
My Lord, do you speak the truth? When we go travel, sadly, we generally say that we're from Las Vegas as opposed to being from America or from the US because not always, but often saying you're from America has a bit of a negative connotation, especially with things that are going on right now. But no one hates on someone from Las Vegas, so we always fly safe with that title.
I love that. I may have to say that. I'm from Vegas, baby.
That's right. Or if you're actually from somewhere else in the US, just say you're Canadian. They're like, oh, okay, no one hates Canada.
That is true. And if you ever been to Canada and no shade against the Starbucks or Donut lovers, but Tim Hortons, oh my gosh, when I went to Canada to visit my family, oh, Timbits were amazing.
I was gonna say you're gonna finish that sentence with amazing, and I called it perfect.
So, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of what you're all about, I want to get you connected with the Gemsters in a fun and personal manner. So, you know that I either like to play a rapid fire 10 question game or an icebreaker. What are you in the mood for, Andy?
Ooh, I like the Q&A. Do the 10 questions.
Okay, here we go, y'all. We're playing rapid fire with Andy and Genesis.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
Do do do
I
do
can't with you
do.
right now. I can't.
So, question numero uno. What is your favorite language if you speak more than one?
So, I mean, I was born with a German tongue, so I can speak that just as well as English. Well, probably less now than I speak English. I would say conversationally English, but just to go back to my roots, I think I would say German. Yes.
Okay. Question two. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food, well, it used to be pizza, and then I became lactose intolerant, so it has to be sushi.
Oh, you could make a vegan cheese pizza. I heard.
Don't, no, please don't. Don't besmirch the good name of pizza, okay?
So sushi. Okay. Are you like a raw sushi eater, cooked sushi eater, or everything in between?
I'm pretty adventurous, so all the above. Yes, I'll eat it
Okay.
all. There are a few foods I will never eat. I can't even think of one. Chicken hearts is probably one of them right now that I can think of. But other than that, I eat almost everything.
I love it. See, you could travel with Andy, y'all, because he's not
Hell
afraid to
yeah.
try things.
And I can do spicy too, so, you know.
Okay. Okay. I love that. Question
Making
three.
mental notes.
What is your happy place?
As cliche as it sounds, my happy place is within my four walls. I enjoy my me time, and I want to caveat that with saying just because you're alone, it should never apply being lonely.
Oh, I like that. Just because you're alone, it should never apply being lonely. So you love yourself and you love your me time where you recharge and refuel, right?
That's right. My own little sanctuary. That's right.
See, I've been telling my husband, my partner, my boo, I was like, I need a she cave. Like, I don't even care about the kitchen
100%.
because I just want a media room, a bunch of movies, blasting surround sound.
That's right. That's right. With soundproof walls, right? So nobody else on the outside can hear it.
Yes. So bored. Okay, I don't know if they have this where you live, but have you ever been to like a break room where like you're in there and you're breaking crap? Like you pay to break stuff.
They do have those here. Never been to one. I have, however, once participated in a campus. It was a college campus thing where they brought this old beaten up car and you can pay to get a baseball bat and go to town on it.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, same principle, right? Just out in the open.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make this a fun question. Question number five. Finish these song lyrics if you know it. I took a Louisville slug at the forehead lights, slash.
I know the song. Okay, here's the thing, all right. So me being English as a second language speaker, I do not listen to the lyrics of songs. I can tell you what a song is by listening to the beat and to the song. I don't know the lyrics. I can read the lyrics of a song after 10 years of listening to it. I go, wait, that's what they were saying? I had no idea. The lyrics just mesh into the music with me.
Okay, it's Carrie Underwood before he cheats. And I'm not a singer, but it's like I took a Louisville slug at the both
Yeah, I know. I
headlights.
recognize the song,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Question six. If you could be on any game show, what would it be?
All of them.
Oh.
All of them. I don't know. I watch, you know what would be really fun is back in the day, those cheesy dating shows like Eliminate, The Fifth Wheel. Remember those from way back in the day? Those cheesy ones, just to make a spectacle.
The old school, the old school before Bachelor or something.
Before real reality TV was a thing, like the early 2000s, like the really cheesy ones. Yep, those.
Question seven. This is an easy one. What's your favorite candy?
My favorite candy. Ooh, Sour Patch Kids, because
Oh,
it embodies
yes.
everything. A little sour on the outside, sweet on the inside, kind of like me.
Yes, that's what I tell people. I'm a Sour Patch Kid. First I'm sour, then I'm sweet.
You
Hey.
can't steal mine. Stop.
Hey. So if money was no option and you just hit the lottery, where would you be headed?
I asked that during interviews too. That's the funniest thing. I there's a couple of places I want to hit. I want to do Costa Rica still. There's a few places in Europe, a few places in Southeast Asia. There's still quite a few places left.
Okay.
But I definitely start in Hawaii.
Okay. Love that. Question nine. I see you have objects behind you. One looks like a head or some little widget thing. What is
My
that?
God, no, maybe I can't with you right now. These are Star Wars Legos, okay? They
Okay.
make me sad. They make me sad that you. All right, moving on to the next question.
Okay. Question 10. It is the pass or play question, and here are the rules. If you
Hmm.
pass, that's where our roles are reversed and you ask me any question. If you play, I ask you one last question to wrap up rapid fire. So are you passing or playing?
You're gonna put me on the spot and I have nothing prepared, so play, please.
Oh my gosh, you should always be able to pull a hat out the bag.
Okay,
Okay.
you know what? I'll play.
Okay.
No, no, wait, what's the whatever the one is that
Okay, pass. Pass. So
so I
that's where
get to
you
ask,
ask me.
got it. What's a piece of advice you would give to your former self?
Oh, never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game.
Okay. What's been one of your biggest regrets?
Not going on a trip to my father, no, not going on a trip with my father back home to Curacao, which is where my dad was from. And since this is his coming up on his 5 year death anniversary, I would have loved to go do South America with my dad, who was like from there. And some people argue like Curaçao's not really South America. And I was like, well, it is on the top of Venezuela. It's part of the ABC Islands. Like, so some people say South America, some people say the Caribbean. However
Hmm,
you spin it, that's one thing I wish I would have did with my dad because I always
I
went
like
down to
that.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is where my mom is from, and her family lived there, so we always traveled there.
I like that. Okay.
Mm.
What's if you had a choice, what would be your superpower?
Ooh, to read minds.
Ooh, that's scary. That's a dangerous one too. Okay, you have to be able to turn it off though, because if it's always on, I think you'd be driven insane.
Maybe, and maybe I'll be like Dr. Evil and Austin Power. I'm evil.
Do the evil laugh. Let's hear it.
I can't do that one. I
But
can't.
but you have to turn to like a sinister giggle at the end or something, just to make it better.
Oh man, that was so dope. Thank you so much for playing Rapid Fire, Andy. Audience, I hope you learned a little bit more about Andy, but don't let it stop there. We're definitely gonna dive into his book. And Andy, if you have the book near you, I just want you to hold it up because
Yeah.
play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like when I saw that, I'm like, really? Because there's so many games people play that are stupid. I'm like, are you smart or are you dumb?
The game of life. Some people play that game really, really dumbly, right?
So let's unpack. Hold the book up really quick again.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Let's
Yeah.
analyze it. Okay, so I see a circle. I see some little zigzags there. Well, no, not that's not even a zigzag. Those are like lines.
My God,
Okay,
Genesis.
so tell us why the cover and why the name of the book.
Sure. So I think the phrase "play stupid games, win stupid prizes" really kind of embodies I think a lot of people's lives. It also embodies a lot of people's decision making. It's a lighthearted approach to just making mistakes in life and hopefully learning from said mistakes. Hopefully along the way, never hurting anyone except for your own ego. But again, it's the process of making mistakes and learning from them. And the subtext is short stories about friendship, growth, and social misdemeanors, which I think wraps up the intention of the book quite nicely.
I love that. And because like whenever I saw it, it kind of made me think about like when we're releasing our big kid syndrome and you're going like to a Chuck E. Cheese, a Dave and Buster's or whatnot. They have all these little stupid games in there and you win these prizes and we could be competitive. Well, at least I know I can. I'm like, I'm gonna play this because I want to get me some tickets, go to there and I'm like and then I was like, I have to realize, okay, I'm an adult. There's some little kids there who are really taking it seriously. But I'm like, okay, I could be a big kid too. But then when you apply that to life, like I think like sometimes let's think about like adulting and life is lifing.
hmm
People play these stupid games in relationships. Like sometimes you're like, oh, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna call him because he didn't call me, or I'm not gonna do that because she didn't do that, or he didn't do
Right,
it.
right.
Whether it's like relationships that are romantic, whether it's friendships or whatnot. And I'm
Sure.
like, okay, we're adults, like we're in our 30s, 40s or whatnot. And here we are playing these stupid games to get the other person to draw into what we want. It's a sense of manipulation and a sense of control. And but I'm like, why do we play these stupid games? And then when we get X consequences, you're like, damn, I didn't want that to go down that way. But you're like, you played the stupid game. Like, can you resonate with that or have you
Ab-
experienced that?
100%. And I think one thing you said needs to be extrapolated a little bit, needs to be drawn out a little bit when you said you pay with the consequences. You know, when people say, no, I can say whatever I want, it's free speech. Yeah, you have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to your free speech's consequences. Like you still deal with them after the fact, right? So don't use that get out of jail free card because it's not. You're still responsible for the things that you say and the consequences that come with it, you know?
I love that. And I call them like the faux pas because sometimes we do have those word vomits and like we'll say something, but like my mom said, words do hurt and you can't
hmm
take back what you put out there because someone could take what you said, internalize it or flip it, and you're like, dang, I really didn't mean it like that. But they're like, if you thought it, you said it. So obviously you do mean it or resonate with it. I'm like, dang, bro, like why do you have to take it out of context? Like just chillax or just ask me, this is what I heard. Is this what you meant? And I feel like sometimes everyone wears their heart on their sleeve. And there's like this rap song. It's like I put my heart on ice, heart on ice, because I can't breathe. And so I said those lyrics one day at work, and they're like, "What?" Because like I'm all like professional, and I'm like, I put my
hmm
heart on ice, and they're like, "What'd you say?" I was like, "Don't worry about it."
Let me live. Let me be my own person. All right. You don't need to be in this head. It's only for me. Get out.
And that's why I resonate where, okay, you said sometimes you use humor to cope with life. And I think like coping with life could be like an all around thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes do you use humor to like soften up a situation or to read the room to break the ice? Can you talk about how you use humor in your
They're definitely if you know me in person, you will know pretty quickly that I enjoy dark humor. Like the more inappropriate humor, the better, in my opinion. Of course, never to again hurt anyone or to belittle anyone, but just if there's an inappropriate punchline where the reaction is, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that," then generally speaking, that's the kind of humor I gravitate towards. However, there's been many times, for example, right, we'd be at work and someone will say something like, we'll never get this done. We won't have enough time. We don't have enough manpower. And I'll say something like, just to break the ice. Oh, no, with that attitude, you're not. right? Just to be like, look, at the end of the day, if you sprinkle a little bit of humor onto tense situations, I think that that gives people some comfort and some reaffirmation that, look, we're all human, right? No one's going to get hurt based on the decisions we make at work today. At least not most jobs. Some jobs absolutely do, right? If you're in the healthcare profession, medical, military, right? Those things, that's a little bit different. But most corporate jobs, the decisions you make, the things you say are not going to get anybody hurt. They won't get anybody killed. So at the end of the day, we're just people trying to get from lunch to lunch, from one meal to another. So I don't know. I feel I'm a big proponent of realizing what things are and what things are not, and then taking the pressure off of yourself. My mom said a really great quote one time: "The only pressure you feel is the pressure you put on yourself."
Wow, your mom was like definitely a wise woman because like
She's a G. I can tell you stories about her.
the only pressure you feel is a pressure you put on yourselves. And sometimes we can be ourselves' biggest
Hmm.
critics. And I love the way how you phrase like dark humor. And then like even though you said it like in a certain way, you're like, oh, we're not gonna get anything done with that attitude. Like you said it in a way, but then you also flipped it to a positive. So in a
Hmm.
sense, it was like, okay, I could be like sarcastic, but then I could also be like, let's look at it in a different vantage point. Let's change our perspective. And if you say we can't get anything done, we're not going to accomplish it. But if you say not with that mindset,
That's
you're
right.
shifting your thinking in order to make it an achievable task versus something that's non-achievable if you
Hmm.
have that woe is me attitude or that negative Nancy syndrome.
Right. Right. That whole
Yeah.
victim mentality doesn't fly well with me, right? And I think you nailed it on the head with you flipped around, add a little bit of you sprinkle a little sarcasm on top of it, but then also make it put a message behind it, right? It's one thing to say something. It's one thing to how should I put it? It's one thing to deliver a punchline. It's another thing to be witty and have there be a message behind what you say, right? So just little things like that to your point, right? Now with that attitude, sure, it's a short one-liner, but it
Yeah.
conveys a lot more than that.
And that also feeds into practicing acceptance because I know that's another thing that you talk about.
Hmm.
And sometimes like when we are in relationship, and I'm going to say relationship as a whole, like if we're not accepting ourselves fully as our whole self and showing up, how can we fully accept somebody else whenever we are having these preconceived judgments and notions? So whenever you think about practicing acceptance, what are some of the things that you have went through and how do you help others who are like, hey Andy, I'm struggling with practicing
Yeah.
acceptance. That person is a total loser, but I'm gonna try to love them.
Sure. I mean, I've had a fairly, I wouldn't say easy life, but I've had more or less a comfortable life. My parents were never rich. I came from a middle class family in Germany. We always had a roof over our head and food in our belly. I never came from like a bad upbringing. I had a good childhood, all that good stuff. So I didn't have it hard compared to other people that really have struggled throughout life. But I have had my fair share of difficulties. There was one time in the late 2010s, so like 2008, 2009, 2010-ish. I was going through a breakup that hit me pretty hard. I was going through being unemployed. I was living off credit cards. I was trying to find a job. The recession hit. Just a lot of things just kind of came to a head, and just things weren't easy. And I was really, really negatively noodling on the relationship that just ended and the fallout of that. And I was just really holding on to that negative. What's that one phrase? Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person falls sick. And I was definitely the embodiment of that, right? If you never heard it, again, holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person falls sick. And I think we've all been there where we wish them well, but we still hate them because of reasons, right? And during that time, I was at a low point, I would say. And there is a passage I read from a book called Power versus Force. It's an interesting read. It's a little quirky, has its own little weirdness to it, but there is a chapter on acceptance. And to paraphrase what the author was trying to convey, is that nothing out there should have the power to make you feel sad or happy or indifferent, especially when things or someone that's out there makes you feel anxious, sad, angry, what have you. You're giving that person that thing power that the person probably didn't even ask for in the first place. So taking your power back is the first step in having acceptance of saying, look, this happened and I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to take my power back and not give that happening, my history, that situation, any more power in making me feel a certain way whenever I think about it.
Yeah, and I like how you phrase that because you have to take that power back. And despite the things that you said you went through, going through a bad breakup, losing your job, living off of credit cards, and the emotions or whatnot, you got to a point where you was like, okay, I got to snap out of it, so I have to take that power back. And that was also profound what you said, like having that grudge is like drinking poison, wishing the other person would think. And I kind of chuckled, but it wasn't really funny. But I got this little graphic in my head because I remember when I had like this boss who was like literally she was a witch from hell and like
Hmm.
replaced a W and put a B. And I
I was gonna
remember
say you pronounce which wrong, but yes, we're on the same page.
yeah. I remembered like saying, okay, if I could just see her face on like a gun range target or the axe throwing, I will be hitting
Sure,
those bullets like
sure.
bullseye. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that is so sinister. That's so
Yeah,
very dark and evil
yeah.
and me. And I was like, okay, this lady is taking me to a dark place that's outside of my character. Like I have to like find a way to cope with it and let go of this because like when I would see her, my eyes would cringe. I would get these little headaches. We got to the point where she was my supervisor. We wouldn't even speak to each other, like
Hmm.
coming into the office. And her and I worked together in oil and gas. I was like, I do so much better with the male boss. Like, you and I we both have breasts and we both have like vaginas, but like, you're acting like a big old DI.
Hmm.
And you know the rest. And
Hmm.
I'm like, why is it that we are both females in a male dominated force and you're acting like it's a competition? Like, I don't want your role. Like, I don't even want to
Hmm.
work in this side of the business. I came here as a loan, but I was like, how can I sweeten this lady over? And I was like, you know what? Sometimes people are just going to be who they are. So you have
Yeah,
to learn how to accept them for their flaws, but you can't allow their flaws and their personality to sour or taint who you are,
sure.
because then that makes you go to a negative place. So once you could realize and accept that, I think we become better people. And then we're not playing these stupid games for stupid prizes, because let's be real, when you're in a corporate setting, you do play these stupid games because
Sure.
everyone is politicking. And I'm like, I'm not going to kiss your ass to get ahead. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to kiss your butt to get ahead. Y'all, I try to keep it PG. Or like,
This is what I bring out of you, okay? This is what I do to you, all right?
but there's like been some crazy stuff. And I'm like, this is real life. And I'm like, we tend to play these stupid games to win stupid prizes. So like this book just really resonates with me. And I hope I did not go down a rabbit hole, Andy. But like I'm like, yes, right on the money. I was like, man, I could go to happy hour with you if you drink. Do you drink?
100% I do. I'm not right now, but most other times on weekends, yes. Weekdays, no. I try to, limit myself a little bit. You made an interesting point that I want to touch on when you say things, or rather something you said jogged my memory. You know, the phrase of "you made me feel this way." Like, look, I didn't make you do anything. The way you feel is not my responsibility. Now, at the end of the day, we are respons we don't choose our feelings, but we always choose the action and reaction to those feelings. There was a really, really, really good book written by Viktor Frankl. It's called A Man's Search for Meaning. He's someone who survived the Holocaust, and the stories are just horrendously. I mean, you read this, it makes your stomach churn. And me being German, it just adds more resonance to it, right? And he talks about how even after what those people did to him in those concentration camps, and took away everything that he had and everything that he was, one thing he said that you could never take away from him, one freedom that you'll always have, is to choose your action and reaction. So there was one example where he was one of the Nazi guards was hit him upside the head with a, I don't know, with a stick or something, and he felt the initial pain. And of course, when you feel pain, unwarranted pain like that, your initial reaction is to, you
Yeah.
almost always have an aggressive reaction, and he chose to stop and pause, and then he chose his action after that. And I think that so many times there's an action and there's a almost immediate reaction, but we choose to have that reaction. And if we were to choose to just wait a second or 2 seconds, or draw that pause out a little bit longer to maybe 5 seconds, and you choose your reaction, right? It's that freedom that to his point, no one can take away from you. And I think we need to practice that a lot more these days.
I love that. And that's a good reminder because it's what I heard you saying is the bottom line is to just take that time to pause and let it simmer before just having that knee-jerk reaction, because if
Hmm.
we have that knee-jerk reaction, how it is perceived by us later on or the other person could be more detrimental that than if we were to just pause and kind of think and breathe before we really react.
Yeah, and how many times have we told ourselves, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that." Right? Like literally 5 minutes later, you realize, not my best work, right? That was not my best effort, right? Because we don't
Yeah.
think, we don't stop.
So true. I mean, like we're spilling all the tea here. Another thing I want to ask too, Andy, like what was the hardest part that you had to write in your book?
I there's a few. Okay, so the first part, the first half of it is my silly stories. I call them. Literally, it's called the first part, silly stories, and then the second part is a little more serious. Not that the stories from the first part aren't serious, but you'll see there's definitely a shift in momentum and a shift in I don't know, energy, I guess you can call. The second part is a lot more introspective. I have some unpopular opinions that I share, some reflections, some rants, right? I rant about the American credit system, right? Just it's just me having a soapbox for me to stand on and to speak to whoever's listening. There are a few chapters, a few passages where I'm quite vulnerable, right? There's I talk about, the hard time I had, we talked about with the acceptance portion. I talk about some people who've committed suicide that were very dear and close to me, right? So there's a couple of passages that I generally wouldn't share with the general public, but I do because I think it's part of my story, my process, and I wouldn't be the person I am today if it weren't for those harder times.
And thank you for sharing that. And some of the silly stories as well as some of the hard stories. Did any of that have to do with you being a U.S. veteran? And what branch were you in?
I was in the Marines, the few and the
Okay.
proud.
What what do y'all say? Hoorah!
Hoorah. Yeah, that's right.
Hoorah! My sister was on the other side. She was in the Navy, a CB.
And I
I'm like,
forgive her.
okay, shots fired.
That's right. There were a couple of choice. Okay, let me share one that's a little PG rated, and then if you want, we can go a little more
Okay.
PG-13 rated. So I enlisted out of Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska. How I ended up there, we can talk about too if we have the time, but that may be a discussion for another time. Anywho, so I go into the PX. For you non-veteran, non-military listeners, it's a personal exchange, kind of like a grocery store on base, right? So I go to the PX and I buy some liquor, and then the gal behind the counter said, "Can I see your ID?" Right? Because you still have to be 21 to drink regardless. So I said, "Sure." So I handed her my Alaskan driver's license. Now keep in mind, this is in Southern California on base. You don't see a whole lot of Alaskan driver's licenses down there, right? So she goes, "Alaska? Wow, okay. It must be pretty warm down there." I'm going to pause for a second. Okay. She said, "Alaska, it must be pretty warm down there." And I kind of cocked my head a little to the side and I go, "What do you mean by down there?" And she goes, "Down there must be pretty warm." And I paused for another second and I asked her, "Where do you believe Alaska is?" And she says, "Down there by Hawaii." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So it turns out, bless her heart, turns out she was talking about, when you see the weather report, you see Hawaii down there in the lower left along with Alaska. They kind of smush that to the side there on the map of the 48 states, then plus Alaska, Hawaii, right? When it comes to the weather forecast. I'm like, "Oh, honey, no, no. Alaska is way up north. We share a border with Canada. We get -40 in the wintertime. Definitely Alaska is not anywhere down there." And then this young woman has the gall to look at me kind of funny and she goes, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "No, no, woman. I've only lived there for 5 years. Of course I'm sure. Come on."
Oh, and see, if you were following along, some of y'all, your mind could have went somewhere else. Like that's why he's keeping it PG-13.
I think even in the book I write, I'm going to give the reader a second here to pause and noodle on this on their own, right? Just kind of just to drive that point home.
Oh wow. So you were stationed in California, like Port Hueneme or where?
Well, Camp Pendleton, so it's between San
Okay.
Diego and LA. So if you ever drive south or north on the five between
I haven't
LA
been
and San
there, but
Diego, yeah, you'll drive right through Camp Pendleton. You can't miss it. Like you'll know when you'll see military barracks on the side facing the ocean. That's where I was stationed. Thankfully, I had a good setup. I couldn't have complained.
oh, nice. I just remembered when my sister was doing basic training out in Mississippi. Like, I had no idea, like, civilians weren't supposed to talk to, like, the people or whatnot. So I'm, like, waving. I was like, man, they look really nice. Like, I was like, the Navy people look good, but the Marines look really nice in their uniform. She's like, put your hand down. That's, like, official or whatnot. I was like, I don't give a damn. Like, I could
That's
speak if I could
fine. You're
speak and say
fine.
hi.
That's
And then I was like,
fine.
man, y'all are so, like, snotty over here. And I'm like, let me hurry up and get my A double
That's
snakes
funny.
out of this
That's
base.
funny. We love the attention. Don't get me wrong. Like I will say, the Marine Corps uniforms, the dress blues, are the sexiest of all the uniforms you can have across all the branches, and you can fight me on that. If you type in Marine Corps dress blues, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you've never seen them. They look sexy AF.
Ooh, rah. I'm just kidding.
That's right. Call me.
Call me, maybe. Hey. That's
I
Carly
can't
Rae
with you.
Jepsen, y'all.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so before we wind down, let's throw in an audible. Is there something that you want to share with the Jumpsters that I didn't ask you about, whether it's the book, your personal,
Yeah.
you want to put yourself out there and be like, hey, I'm single and ready to mingle.
No, no, nothing
I'm
like that.
alone.
I'm happily taken. I thank you for the offer, or whoever is listening. I thank you for the offer, but I'm happily
He's
taken.
taken.
My God, I can't with you. Well, if we have the time now for the plug, if you go to andysbook.com, one word, andysbook.com, there's a picture of me holding it up. There's a link to the Amazon page. There's even some other podcasts. Miss Genesis, I've talked to other podcasters before you. I've been cheating before I even knew you, so I just want to put that out there. There are some other social media links. There's a contact button. If nothing else, look, if you like what you've heard so far, you want to buy a copy, be my guest. If you hit me up and say, "Hey man, can I get a copy, even a signed one?" I'm more than happy to send you one. So that's an offer for you listeners.
I love that. So y'all heard it here, Andy Dietrich. If you want to be posh, you could go learn practice how to say it the
Pinky
German
up.
way. Yes. And he is taken. So for you single ladies out there trying to look to mingle and hook up, you can't do it with Andy because he
I
is
have
taken.
friends. I have plenty of friends.
And he likes being alone sometimes. So forced to recharge. But that website, once again, Andy is Andy's books.
Andy's, yeah, and Andy's book.
Yes.com. So you guys heard Andy here on the Gem podcast. Make sure you connect with him and grab a book. Share the book with your friends. Go check him out on some of the other podcasts. I can't believe you cheated on me before you came here, but
Maybe if you try a little bit harder and call me back once in a while, you know.
hey, see, play those
Play
stupid
stupid games.
games.
That's right. That's what you get. You win those super prizes. See? It's all coming full circle now.
So, y'all, my big ask is if you like what you heard, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. We're available on 40 plus audio platforms. You can see the video to this on YouTube. Just go to GEMS, GEMS, like behind me with Genesis Amaris Kemp. And just live it up, y'all. I would say live your life like golden and make sure you pay attention to the years that you have on earth. That's why we have a dash between the time we're born and the time that we check out of here. We don't even know when that's going to be, but make that dash important and make it count. So just do you and do you to the best. And that's all I have for y'all. So until we sign back on next time, signing out with peace, love, and lots of blessings. You are amazing. I love you. The world loves you. So be great.